our next panel, and we'll get right to it. NFTs, the next generation of digital ownership. We have Lizette Portillo, Trade Marketing and Communities Manager at Adidas, and Nicholas Longano, founder and CEO of Scooty, who is going to be joining us via Zoom. And our panel will be moderated by Professor Jeremy Morgan.
All right, thank you. We will get set up here. I'm with Lisette, who is a recent RBS grad.
Yes.
Currently at Adidas, working in the space. And online we have Nicholas, who was involved with several games I played growing up: Half-Life 2, Counter-Strike, Warcraft, Lord of the Rings, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. We're going to begin with Lisette. She has a short presentation, and then I'm going to get to some questions. Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right,
good.
go ahead.
Awesome. So hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for making the time to be here. If you're here in person, if you're joining us virtually, or if you're joining us from the future and looking at this recording, welcome. I just wanted to give you a quick crash course on NFTs just to get you all acquainted into it. But before I dive in, I just have a quick question. So by a show of hands, do you all know what an NFT is? Just raise your hand. Amazing. Do you all know what NFTs do? Okay, fewer. And how many of you here own an NFT? By show of hands. We got one person in the room. You are ahead of the game, my friend. Awesome. So hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll have a little bit more knowledge about what NFTs are, and we'll be curious to explore it a little bit more. So let's get in. Awesome. So let's start it off with disclaimers. I do not want you to take this presentation as financial advice whatsoever. Also, second disclaimer is this is all from my personal insight. I am not speaking in behalf of the Adidas Metaverse Task Force. However, this is just some of the insights I have gathered from my experience in Web3. Cool. So I kind of want to talk about the ecosystem where NFTs live in, which is Web3. And this has been an evolution of pretty much the internet. So if you see on the diagram here, Web 1 really transformed the world. This was when we were able to access web pages through your computer. People were able to access different parts of the space through a desktop, which was really, really cool. This is when Netscape came around. And this, if you look at the x-axis, you can see this created a 1.1 trillion market when this was, brought to the world. Going on to Web 2.0, we see the digital landscape become more social. So we see more social networks come about. You could think about Facebook, Airbnb, Uber. And this was when everything that we are accessing through our mobile, through our internet is actually on the go, because we were able to get nice, easy UX UI design. So made it mobile friendly, which was super, super helpful in just like making things more social and just like grabbing what we learned and just bringing it with us everywhere we went. That was 5.9 trillion at this moment. Now where we're headed at is Web 3.0, and pretty much this is kind of setting up the stage for where the future is going. As you can see, this also goes into 2025. So we are talking about in the future. Currently right now, I think there are a few people who understand Web3. However, we're still trying to onboard new people every single day. But this is when we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence into this ecosystem. We're also talking about decentralized infrastructures that completely change the game in terms of like how a lot of systems are built up currently. Right now, we function as a society in a lot of centralized structures, and that's actually changing. So just want to set up the landscape and tell you where NFTs live and that is in Web3 in the metaverse. Cool. So NFTs, quick definition, the acronym actually stands for non-fungible tokens. And what's interesting about them is that they're unique cryptographic tokens that exist on the blockchain. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of what a blockchain is, but it is where NFTs are born. What's interesting about it is that it's almost indestructible, meaning when you upload something to the blockchain, it can't really be erased unless you burn an NFT. However, it's almost like a public domain. So you can check out my transactions. I can check out your transactions completely out and about. It's public to everyone. Every single transaction that is uploaded is recorded. So there is nothing you really can hide. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Another great thing about it is that it actually contains ownership information through the form of metadata. So it actually authenticates ownership. And one use case of this is like in the art world, a lot of really great painters have forged Picassos, Rothkos, and they've actually figured that out a little bit too late after auctions have been held. So this is something, a use case that's super important when it comes to proving ownership and authenticity of any asset. So that's a major plus on that side. NFTs actually create a new economy, whether you believe it or not. What it allows you to do is creators actually are now getting more power than the actual platforms. So with NFTs, there is no single entity that is in absolute control. So no monopoly yet. The space is super, super new. So there are really no barriers to entry other than probably research and some other tools. So right now, I think what makes it really exciting is that no one is truly an expert. Like I'm not really an expert, and anybody who really tells you is an expert, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt because all of this is super, super new, which is what makes it so exciting and so limitless. So some of the benefits just talked about is a new emerging market. It actually allows people to now sell and buy digital assets. So for example, if you ranked up a player in Halo, and let's say you have it as an NFT, you can actually sell that player for a profit depending on the ranking. Just to give you a little bit of insight, currently now, if you rank up your player in Halo, you can't really do much other than play with your friends and brag about it. But if it were an NFT, you could actually rank it up and sell that in the marketplace for what it's worth. So just quick example. Also a really great thing is that it now allows more people into the space. So before, people who were able to invest were only very few, but now this new technology actually invites almost everyone with an internet connection to be part of this. So there's a lot of potential there. And the support of royalty systems. So in the smart contracts of each NFT, the creator can actually program it so there are royalties for every single transaction. So for example, if I created my own NFT project, I could literally embed it into the smart contract that every single time there is a transaction or my NFT is traded, I can get 10%, 15%, 5% of that transaction every single time it's traded. Another beautiful thing is decentralization. There is no middleman. So this is really, really great because you can actually have community-based ownership rather than limited ownership that could only be accessible to the very few, but now the many. And of course, there's limitless creativity. So just a quick overview, not going to go into this too much. However, this is just an example of where CryptoPunks have gone. CryptoPunks is a PFP project, profile picture NFT project, that has really been almost one of the OGs of the space. So you can see just the trajectory of it. According to Nansen AI, the market cap of the NFT marketplace is 11.3 billion, and they actually project it to be 231 billion by 2030, which is only 8 years away. So again, forward thinking. So before the sale of $71,000 for that cute little ape over there with a hoodie, somebody could actually buy a CryptoPunk for $443. However, they were only able to buy it at that price because they got it in early. Throughout time, they have become more valuable, and you can almost think about them as like pieces of art that show a level of status. So we'll get into that a little bit more, but I just wanted you to see a little bit about the market and show you a little bit of where it is headed and where it has been. This is just 2020, by the way. And if you go on OpenSea, which is the NFT marketplace that's very popular, you can't even buy a CryptoPunk anymore. Like there's none in the market. Yeah, cool. So just wanted to tell you all what the do's and don'ts of an NFT project, at least a good one, is. A good NFT project creates a community with all of its holders and even people outside of its community. It also rewards its community members. So this can be in the form of airdrops. This can be in the form of airdrops, whether it be NFTs, tokens, and they actually evolve their roadmap. So you can think of their roadmap as like what they're proposing, their UVP, or what they aspire to become. So they're constantly evolving their proposition. And of course, I think this fourth one is so important, especially now. They're continuously engaging the community despite market conditions. So right now, we are all, I'm pretty sure we all know we're in a bear market. But I feel like right now is the time where builders really come out and you can really see the true from the fake. Really great NFT projects are continuously engaging with their community and providing value, even updates. Like even if they're not putting anything out, they should be providing regular updates, whether it be on Discord, Twitter, or even on their website. And from my experience, some of the best NFT projects have really strong founders and team members. So one thing about that I will say is that some founders choose to remain anonymous. That is for certain reasons. However, I have found that some of the people who actually come into the light, the founders that really put a face behind the project, are some of the most successful. However, there are some exceptions where there are really good NFT projects and the founders do remain anonymous. However, I would just use that as a word of caution as you proceed. Some of the things that they don't do are some of the red flags you should probably look out to in looking at an NFT project is if they're one hit wonders, that's a red flag. Like if they promise something and build up all this hype to this one moment to completely sell out their entire project and then they disappear, that's a rug. That's what in the NFT community you call a rug. They pulled the rug from off underneath your feet and you should probably pivot or try to figure out what to do, because that is not a great sign. Another bad sign is they ignore their holders or their community. So people may be asking questions in the Discord or asking for more clarity in Twitter. And if no one's getting back to them, that's a huge red flag. Everything should be transparent. Again, these are all human beings behind it. So everyone has flaws. However, I think communication, especially in a ecosystem that is completely digital, is super, super important. Also, if they share misleading information, that's also a red flag. For example, if a community member finds out that there is a lie or there is like something that the founder or the team has been keeping from them, I think that also breaks a lot of trust, which is what you need in the community. I just want to stress community in NFTs because that is basically, I think, the heart of everything. Cool. So just to show you some types of projects, NFTs are not just profile pictures or pictures of monkeys. I know that. But just want to show you a little bit of like the types of NFT projects there are. These are not by any means all of them. However, there are a few. So on the left, you see there CryptoPunks, PFP pictures. If you have a CryptoPunk, that's like the craziest flex you can have today, because that's like a really big social status. I think PFP. If anybody wants to be a really big thought leader in the space, if anyone wants to really build up their personal brand within Web3, they'd definitely be looking at a CryptoPunk, despite the price. If you look at the sandbox, this is when we get to digital real estate, and this is what another NFT project can do. So this is the sandbox, and as you can see there, every single day some land is getting bought up in the sandbox. So you can actually invest into digital real estate through an NFT. Going down further, we have Axie Infinity, which is actually play to earn game. So if you buy a certain amount of these NFTs and rank them up, you can actually battle them with other teams and profit from them. And here we have Ferocious, which is art, an art NFT. But just want to show you a quick collaboration with Adidas, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and CryptoPunks and G Money, of how some teams are kind of like using these tools and just getting creative with it. Yeah, I'll leave the curiosity to you all. Here are some resources, but would love to engage in the conversation further.
All right, thank you. I'm going to start off with Nicholas. How have NFTs, or how have you introduced and used NFTs in your role in gaming?
Yeah, gaming takes a very different approach as far as NFTs are concerned, in that with games, NFTs really have utility. And as you start to think about the value of NFTs, there are a number of ways. Again, ultimately, at the end of the day, what is the value of an NFT? It's what the market says its value is, right? As Lizette was talking about community, that is an important function of NFTs, because at the end of the day, it's the hyping of something, right? It's no different to the art world. It's all the hype, the marketing, all the galleries that get behind something and tell you that it's important. That is no difference for the NFT world. And just one thing I'm not sure if everybody in the audience is sort of knowledgeable in terms of, NFTs, what is non-fungible, what is a token? All of those things have definitions, and hopefully people have done their research. But typically non-fungible means that it's really not replaceable, not physically replaceable by something else. For instance, what's fungible in our everyday life? Right, a $10 note is fungible, meaning it can be replaced by another $10 note, or two $5 notes, or 10 $1 notes, right? Bitcoin is fungible. It's not an NFT. Why? Because you can replace one Bitcoin with another Bitcoin. Property, right? You wouldn't think of property, but property is, or a house is, non-fungible unless someone recreates the exact same house. But even with the exact same, it goes back to things that you collect, like tokens or baseball cards. You can have two baseball cards that were of a particular person, and they were minted. Well, I shouldn't say the word minted, but they were created, the same series of cards, but they might have a different condition, right? They might be in a different state. So therefore, they are non-fungible. And then, of course, the NFTs that we're talking about today. Most of the NFTs, I believe that everything will evolve, right? Just like the Web 2.0 evolved, or Web 1 to Web 2 to Web 3, so will NFTs. A lot of the NFTs that you see today really don't have any utility. Some do, and they might have greater inherent value, right? If it's just a status utility, you have to find somebody else that believes in that status and it's attached to that NFT. We all want status at the end of the day, and they also sort of not take advantage, that's a terrible word, but they take advantage, well, I'll use it anyhow, of the fact that people love to collect things, right? So they're not necessarily a niche. They could go mainstream. My generation, people were collecting cards, baseball cards. They were collecting coins, cars, you name it, physical items. Now this generation is going to be collecting digital items, and there's a value to that. But again, the value is set by the market. As for games, it's all about, for me, utility. It's about, for example, Lizette was given the example of Halo. It's about having an asset in your game and utilizing that asset It's basically all being recorded on the blockchain. And by definition, the blockchain really, let's down to its bare essentials, it's a ledger. That's really what it is. It's basically showing the provenance, the authentication, as well as the ownership of any particular item, right? And so any item or any asset, digital asset that you use within your game, right, that'll then be recorded on the blockchain in terms of your wins, your successes, and then somebody may want to buy that from you, and you let the marketplace basically determine what the value is. So to answer the question in a shorter way, it's all about the utility, the use case for that particular item. For instance, you talk about Adidas. I would love to see Adidas, for example, allow me to buy a physical pair of shoes. Then I get the NFT at a certain discounted price, and I can use that NFT in my game. And that NFT is now going to give me utility. It makes me go 10% faster, or I can leap 15% higher. That has value, tremendous value. It's beyond just a collectible. It is now something that advanced my gameplay. It now has a provenance against it. It has my achievements, and I can basically transfer ownership of that when I'm done with my game. That's the beauty of Web 3.0, and it's the beauty of these NFTs.
Very good. Are you seeing mostly people buying NFTs from your company as collectibles, or do you see a wider market for them?
I mean, from my company, I don't think I can speak to, but from my general, I guess, network, I think, to be quite honest with you, right now, a lot of people that I know are collecting NFTs for the long run. So right now, I think they're taking advantage that the markets are super low. They can buy these at a discounted price. So they're honestly trying to scoop up the most valuable NFTs that they think will withstand the test of time. So they're looking at art NFTs, they're looking at NFTs with utility, or they're either collecting or they're building, because a lot of people, I guess, are only interested in Web3 when the hype is here. But you have to understand, a lot of people build when the market is low. Why? Because gas fees are low, Ethereum is low, and everything is pretty much low, that it gives you enough time for you to create a team and really build on something fundamental. So yeah.
Well, for either of you, what maybe non-collectible utilities have you seen in your industry revolving around NFTs?
I think that's all is really taking shape, and I think that is work in progress, a lot of work in progress. I want to echo something that Lizette just said with respect to standing the test of time, because that's what these collectibles are about. And let's be honest, you also need to have some form of a crystal ball, right? Because you have to be able to predict what's going to be popular. So I bought this ape today. I've got to be sure that this ape is going to be popular in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, etc. Now, what Bored Apes have done that's really smart is that they've introduced utility. I always think about utility, because by buying one of those NFTs, you also get access to the Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? So they're allowing me to do something which gives me an immediate benefit today. But again, you have to have that crystal ball. Is that NFT or what you are buying today going to have equal or greater value in a year's time or 2 years' time? That's the question. And there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of NFTs out there. And you notice we only hear about the ones that are sold for millions of dollars. You don't hear about all the others that are basically sold for tokens. And we don't know if people are making money off them, because let's be frank, we don't know what the gas fees are, because the gas fees change constantly, and it's all based on processing power as well. So it's not a constant. You're not sure of what the gas fee is going to be on something when you go to sell it. So a lot of people might actually be making losses as well. So again, you need that crystal ball. And people buying property, how do you know that that's where people want to be in the future? How do you know that? Do you have some sort of a magical crystal ball that says, I'm going to buy a property in this particular thing because I think that's going to reflect the metaverse? That's the dangers, I think, of moving too fast. But also at the same token, the benefit of moving too fast is that, as Lizette says you get the lower price now, with the hope that that price is going to go up over the course of time.
You've talked about gas fees. Is there a high barrier to entry to creating and launching an NFT? Either of you?
guess
Uh,
it depends when
Lizette can talk to that.
Mhm.
yeah, like I mean, you could definitely take this one too, but I guess it depends when you want to enter, or like when you want to mint your NFT. By the way, minting, for the audience, anybody who doesn't know, minting is like when your NFT is born, when it comes from the creator to the audience for the very first time, that's minting. So when a creator wants to publish or like put their NFT on the blockchain, they have to mint it. So they have to pay certain gas fees. But to be quite honest with you, I think, I guess the best time to go in is again the bear market. But I don't know, Nicholas, do you have another opinion?
No, I mean, everybody wants to buy low and sell high, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's great sage advice. There's no doubt about that. But again, we don't know what those rules, and as competition increases, I think that there'll be some stability with the gas fees. But again, right now, they're not something that you can actually predict, which is the unfortunate part of NFTs.
Who has been behind kind of the monkeys, the cyberpunks, kind of these higher profile NFT collections?
Yuga Labs. So fun fact, the creators of Bored Ape Yacht Club are called Yuga Labs, and they actually pulled a really strategic move recently. They actually bought CryptoPunks, but in doing that, they actually gave the CryptoPunks IP rights, meaning if a CryptoPunk wanted to go out and create a soda with their CryptoPunk on top of that soda, they could absolutely do that because they have the IP rights, and so do Bored Apes. So instead of kind of like, I mean, that could have easily turned into like a hostile takeover. However, in acquiring them, they also actually gave them a little bit more of their actual freedom. So I think that was very strategic in their end. But yeah, they're called Yuga Labs.
All right. I think we have time maybe for one, maybe two audience questions.
We have a question in the New Brunswick side as a statement.
No.
This was so helpful. We're out here in New Brunswick. Hi, you look so great on screen. One thing that's really good to also talk about, to bring it from the 1% Bored Apes, which are cool, to the 99% like the artist, is I love examples where NFTs can give control back to artists, because then with the attribution, and then there's no longer the worry of, piracy and copying. And I'm seeing a lot more generation from the smaller groups. And I just love to hear if you have some examples of that, because I think that's going to scale like wildfire over the next 24 months.
I agree 100. I wanted to get to that. So that is, I think, one of the most exciting components is that, and Lizette again said this earlier, is that it really gives power back to the artist, which is phenomenal. And we see examples for Jeff Koons, for example, his art project where he is NFTing his artwork. That's phenomenal. He gets to forever earn royalties based on the sale and resale of that art. So that is fantastic for every artist to be able to take that and control their art and where it's going. And I think that we're starting to see more and more real world situations. For instance, NBA Top Shot, we didn't speak about those guys. They enable you to capture a moment in time, that last basket of the game, right? And it's encapsulated in an NFT. You own that right. And it's just absolutely phenomenal where this is going with artists and being able to now create artwork, market it, have it tied, to the blockchain through an NFT, and capitalize on that and really control your own destiny. I think that that's what these NFTs can do.
100% agree. Just one last example. I am blanking on the name, but just going back to the idea of giving the creator more power. To be quite honest with you, as long as you're the creator, you have full, I guess, flexibility. So Shaq has also partnered with another creator to do an NFT project where for every sale of that NFT, it actually goes into funding certain college kids' careers to go into basketball. So you could take that and run with it, but that's another social impact side that creators can also do with their NFTs.
Yeah.
I have a two-part question real quick. Who determines the price of the NFT? And the second question is, who regulates the transactions between the sellers and the buyers? Because we're going off trust and all this stuff sounds like Mandarin to me, but I just want to know who regulates that within that space. The NFT space, because you say that.
So normally the value is set by the person who mints the NFT. They set the price. And then, you know, the market thereafter, you know, determines what the ongoing price is going to be as it sells and resells, etc. But you, if you were to create an NFT, you are the person that sets the price of that NFT. Just one thing as well, you know, we talk about trust and trustless, etc. As far as blockchain and NFTs are concerned, there still is fraud out there in the marketplace, and we see it all the time. So you do have to trust the creator, because there's nothing from stopping a creator from creating an NFT and saying that there's only one and this is the NFT. They can create another one if they wanted to. So, and we see that in the marketplace. So there can be fraud as well. But again, you as the creator sets the price.
We're basically buying the idea of what we might think happened. That's basically it.
I mean, I guess you are buying into like the roadmap and also where you essentially see it going.
Well,
It's
that's
True for
definitely a
any
risk
property
asset.
too. It's one more over here.
I appreciate your curiosity.
No,
though.
any property is going to have the same market value, market
Yeah,
forces.
I think it's, yeah, just like any business you buy into, right? If I start a new business and I'm like, hey, I'm selling this, I don't know, glove that can do great things. Like some people will buy it, some people won't. And then when the market decides whether or not that glove has value, then you'll know what the price is.
But you can see that.
Right. Well, it's the
You
same thing.
can see that we're going off ideas. We're imagining what might happen, where the glove is actually a physical thing and we can buy it and we can purchase it. We can put it up against other gloves. This is just the idea of what we might think might happen.
All right, we're going to have
Well,
to.
right, exactly.
We're going to have to.
Wait, all right. Well, I still want to say something.
Okay, quick question.
All right. I just wanted to get into more use cases. I think it could be really good use case could be like tickets, right? The number one thing about tickets, the same way with art, is that if they reproduce them, you know, they can make them, you know, fraudulent tickets. So if you made an NFT into a ticket, no one could reproduce it. No one could make another one. You would know it's exactly, you know, down to the ticket number. It's like specifications. So I
All
think
right.
that's a really good use
Very good.
case.
I want to
Definitely.
thank my panelists, Lizette, Nicholas, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Mhm.